Okay, it's our last move day. Overnight, some weather came in.
Hello everyone, it is a beautiful Sunday morning in Norfolk, Virginia. As you're watching this, if you're watching it when it goes live, that means that yesterday was Earth Day. I take Earth Day pretty seriously as someone who works and plays in the outdoors, but it does sort of irk me that we don't see the attention given to the planet the rest of the year. But I've got one thing I want to talk to you about that is easy to fix, is easy to change, that has a huge impact. Let's go. Okay, yeah, it's Earth Day. I'm already sick of hearing about it, right? In my experience, I feel like Americans, and I can only attest to Americans because this is where I live. If you're watching from another country, hi, I'd love to know how you deal with this in your country, but Americans are perfectly willing to make changes in their life to benefit the environment as long as it doesn't cost them more money or inconvenience them in any way. Those are two really hard things to do if you want to make a lasting impact. But I've got one that is super easy to do that I like, is mind-numbing to me. I can't believe that I even have to talk about this. Are you ready? Can you believe that this is what I'm going to talk about? Bottled water is like the worst thing in the world. I get upset when I see students show up with it for a class or a private lesson. It makes no sense to me. So let's talk a little bit about bottled water and why you should absolutely not be using it. Now, I totally understand there are people that where they live, there is not good drinking water. And so they have to buy bottled water. But you don't have to buy it in sizes like this. This is the problem. Buy a 5-gallon jug. Buy a 1-gallon jug. Whatever. You have tons of options. These are horrible. So let's talk about these. First, I want to talk about the plastic bottle, right? Americans use about 50 billion, that's billion with a B, water bottles per year. That's 13 bottles per month for every person in the United States. That is absolutely ridiculous. But you're going to say, we recycle them. That would be great, except it's not true. Depending on where you check recycling information from, somewhere between 3 and 30% of plastic water bottles actually get recycled. The rest of them end up in landfill. I have personally pulled hundreds of them out of bodies of water while I'm paddling. Most organizations say it's between 5 to 9%. Let's even call it 10% of 50 billion bottles. I'm not good at math, but that's a lot of bottles, right? So that's problem one. Plastic bottles are not designed to be reused. So a lot of people say, well, I reuse the bottles, I refill them. These are not designed to be reused. And what that means is that they're leaching plastic into you. Now, there's plastic everywhere, and plastic is leaching into us from lots of things, but why add to it with something that is as simple as this? You can certainly replace this with a reusable water bottle, be it plastic or metal if you prefer, for somewhere between 14 and 30 bucks, depending on the brand. But you should do something besides this. So that's the plastic. Let's talk about the water, right? So for the most part, the water is coming from municipal sources. That means it is no different than the water that is coming out of the tap in your home, or the companies that are selling you the water are paying pennies for it. And on average, for instance, Coca-Cola marks their water up 133 times. That's not 133%. That's take the cost of the water and multiply it by 133. That's how much they're ripping you off, right? If I were to mark up the cost of me giving a kayaking lesson 133 times, I'd only have to teach 3 lessons a year to make the same amount of money. So 133 times, that's what they're charging you when you could just be getting water from a tap. You can buy a liter of Dasani water for $2.99, which is $11.96 a gallon. It really killed me during the pandemic while we were having like lockdowns and stuff like that. People were complaining about the cost of gas. Oh my God, gas is almost $5 a gallon. Meanwhile, those same people are paying $11 a gallon for water that they could be getting for free. Mind-numbing. I just don't get it. If you're gonna buy something made out of plastic, buy yourself a kayak. Nalgene plastic bottles cost between 14 and 16 bucks for a liter, and then you can fill it for free. Don't get me started on straws. 500 million drinking straws are used a day. I work really hard to minimize my single-use plastic usage, but it's important to me that my impact is as low as I can get it. I don't use plastic forks, spoons, knives, right? All of those things I don't use. Paper plates drive me insane. I work really hard to not have an impact or a big impact on the planet. Now, before you go crazy in the comments, right, I am far from perfect, right? I do have a Sprinter van. I do fly. I do paddle a plastic kayak. No one can have zero impact, but I work really hard to get that impact as low as possible. And switching away from this is a super easy thing to do. So this Earth Day, think about your impact. Think about simple things like this, like getting rid of water bottles that you can do to lessen your impact. Notice I'm not really talking about recycling other than the numbers on those that aren't getting recycled. Recycling is not going to solve our problems. We need to reduce and reuse. And so that's an easy one when it comes to plastic water bottles. Hey, thanks for your time. Have a beautiful Earth Day. Go outside. Do something really fun. I'll see you on the water.